Thank you so much for joining us today on Coffee With. We're at the Highway 61 Coffee Shop on Washington Street. And my guest today is a very familiar face in Vicksburg, a familiar voice. You see his editorials. You're just kind of everywhere day to day.
Yeah, a lot of people say a familiar smell, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Would never have thought
Well,
that.
it's because of the fried chicken
Chris
that we do at the
Whittington,
Klondike.
I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
So you and your wife own the Klondike.
We do.
Thank you, Chris.
Let's quiet down out there. We're doing an
appreciate
interview.
your comment.
Yeah, we're doing an interview
That's
over
real
here.
classy.
Thanks.
You don't even have to cut that. That's just class.
We own the Klondike. We've had it for about 6 years now.
Back to business before we were so rudely interrupted by the owner of Vicksburg Daily News.
Chris Whittington, W-H-I-T-T.
601. Okay, so y'all own the Klondike. And how did y'all end up? You're not from here. You don't sound like you have a Vicksburg accent.
No, I don't. I'm trying to overcome that, but I don't have one currently. Now, we came here about 6 years ago and just fell in love with the community, and we opened Horseface Harry's restaurant as a popular place. And then a few months after that, we bought the Klondike, and it turned into a lot of work very quickly. And we thought it'd be a great idea to combine operations so that neither one of us had to work 100 hours a week, which we were doing. And so now I work 100 hours a week, and my wife stays at home.
Well, that's a good deal for her.
It's
that
a great
was a
deal
good
for
plan.
her.
I said that was a good plan. I bet she appreciates
apparently
that.
she had planned this out or so many things in our life. She knew this would be the eventuality of it. I was informed later. So.
Well, brains versus...
Yeah, but my beauty, her brains.
Oh, there you go. So, do y'all like Vicksburg?
Love Vicksburg. We love this community. You know, when we first came here, I came off Interstate 20 by Hall's Ferry and turned north. And there were all these monuments on a hill over here, and I was going to what was P.L. Hennessy right there at that time to meet a realtor to talk about the community and so forth, get some basic community information. And they were doing something, and I walked out front, and I was talking on the cell phone, and said, man, that's a cool hill, and walked across the street and started reading the monuments, and before I knew it, like an hour and a half had passed. I spent over there reading that, and I was looking up information on the internet in my hand and so forth, and I just, a history buff anyway.
Yeah.
And was absolutely fascinated by it. And then I remembered that there was a realtor waiting on me who literally was standing on the front porch doing this because they sold my vehicle and I was gone. But that was my first time in Vicksburg. I fell in love right away and then went up underneath the Confederate Street Bridge and down to Marcus Bottom, which had just been redone. And I decided everywhere we turned, it was just a beautiful community.
Yeah.
And then, I stopped the car and got out and started talking to some people, and everyone was so friendly and they were so welcoming. I thought, man, what a great little place to be.
Well, did you say you're from Illinois?
Indiana. I grew up in Indianapolis.
Right, okay. What are some of the distinct differences then between that part of the country and being in what I consider the Deep South? I know other people don't consider this the Deep South, but being a Southerner, I do.
This is about as deep as the South is going to go.
That's right.
It's all uphill from here. But it's, of course, the climate difference is the biggest difference, and that's one of the most attractive things for me. I grew up in Indianapolis, then moved to Detroit and spent time in Cleveland, did most of my business time there. And it's just cold.
Yeah.
It's cold up there, and so as soon as I could get to the warmer weather, I did. But the climate's the biggest difference. As far as the people, you can go anywhere on the planet, and people are going to do this. They're going to interact. Once you get past the cultural barriers or language barriers, this is what people do. We interact, and we like each other, or we don't like each other. We sip coffee or whatever beverage it is, and it's there. People are the same. It's just the mix is different. Here in Vicksburg, though, we have this great history, this tremendous beauty. The physical beauty plus the architectural beauty that goes on. So the differences between there and here, and the other difference is hills. We have hills in Vicksburg. You don't have hills in Indiana.
That's right.
It's just perfectly flat, and you have flat land and corn.
Right.
And
Well, I'm from Louisiana, and we have swamps and, well, where I grew up, sugarcane fields, and so this seems really hilly to me.
But when we came down here, I wanted to see a cotton field, and I know that sounds funny to a Southerner, like, why would you want to see a cotton field? I said it a little bit too fast. I had to get that pause in there so that the timing would be right. But
you're getting close. For being a Yankee, you're getting pretty darn close to having a pretty good Southern accent.
I used to be offended by someone called me a Yankee, but I understand that's okay. I can be called a Yankee. It's the damn Yankee.
It's just a definition.
Yeah.
It's not a judgment right now, but.
Well, the day is young. I'm sure we can identify some.
When the camera's done, then
we can have a lot of new verbs and nouns we can use.
There we go.
Yes. But no, it's a great area. But I want to see the corn. But the sugarcane thing, I want to see one of those too. I want to see a sugarcane field. I want to go out there and chop it down. I want to chew the sugar cane.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those things I want to do.
I don't know where my dad got. You know, I grew up in really South Louisiana, Gramercy, Louisiana,
Okay.
which is down in the swamps. And it was all sugarcane fields. And I mean, we always had sugarcane. I mean, we didn't farm sugarcane. We just lived there. But
Sure.
I guess, you know, he would stop and buy it. Somebody would give it to him. We were always chewing on sugarcane.
What a great thing. It's just one of those simple pleasures of life that you will read about. You know, it's, up north you have this mystical view of the South. This you're going to see Tara and Gone with the Wind and that type of thing. And, you know, you're just certain that someone's going to ride up on a horse and say, "Excuse me, sir." And you just that is your perception. You expect it to happen.
Right.
And occasionally it does,
Right.
which is wonderful.
Right.
But that's the perception. So moving down here is kind of a magical event. And now that I've got to know a lot of the people and speak with individuals down here. But one of the greatest thrills for me, I went to a party a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, and I met this gentleman. He had to be well into his 80s. And when he spoke, it was the most eloquent language I'd ever heard, but he was speaking Old Southern. And that's just one of the most beautiful sounds on the planet, in my opinion,
It is.
the language he spoke. And I was only able to speak with him for about 2 minutes or so, because for whatever reason, he found out I was a Yankee, and that ended the conversation rather quickly. So.
Well, you know, fortunately, in this community, most people are not like that. They're very welcoming, and I found it to be such a gracious, warm, welcoming place to live. And obviously, I mean, I'm surprised, other than your accent, David, I'm surprised to find out that you're not from here, because y'all are such an integrated part of this community.
Well, thank you. And that was actually one of the great parts about it. We just, everywhere we went, everyone was friendly. You know, said, "We want to do this," or "What do you think about that?" Everyone was open to ideas, and you know, just in a very short period of time, we got to know everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And Riverfest was just recent, and we got the biggest thrill out of walking up the street because we knew every person. And the people we didn't know, we went over and said hello and shook hands.
Sure.
And there was this guy, he was one of the food vendors from Florida. My wife and him are best friends now. Apparently that his family's going to be moving in with ours or something. I don't but that's
another one of those plans you're yet to see.
Yeah, another one of those things that I'll find out later. But she's really good at that. But that's the way Vicksburg is. Everybody's friendly and welcoming. And even when you stumble or fall, people pick you up. And it's just a great little community. One of the things we are struggling with, though, is that, you know, there's people are afraid. I think it's that small town thing. There's that fear for people to be themselves at first. You know, there's that people hide behind the politeness and so forth. And so it's really difficult to get in there and make a large circle of good friends. You know, people you hang out with on weekends and make fun of their wife or something. That's the hard part about being new to a town. Now
Right.
we've been here 6 years and we've made some great friends.
Right.
We have a hard time, but that was one of the biggest obstacles to overcome when we first got here.
Yeah.
Is breaking through that glass window, if you will, between a newcomer and someone who's settled in Vicksburg.
I agree with that. You know, I've been here about 4 years now. And I also found it very difficult not having children, because people don't realize how much their social network is defined by their children and the parents of the children's friends.
How brilliant is that? I mean, you know, we know through our children, we know every police officer and parole officer in town. We do. I'm joking. Okay. Because
Okay,
of
now
3
your
of our
wife
children.
just walked in, so...
My wife walked in, and thank goodness she's here.
Yeah, so now you have to start telling the truth.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
I'm afraid really to ask you any questions, David.
I mean, it's a good policy on your part.
Yeah.
It really is. But
Really, you know, we hope to see in the very near future you taking this role as our guest host, because you do know so many people, and because you have no fear about what you're going to talk about or what you say. And some people have a great appreciation for that, and I guess there are a few people around town that perhaps are offended by that. But, you know, I think it broadens everybody's perspective. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, and those people that are offended by that, they're just people we owe money. That's all.
That's it. Well, would that be a lot of people? Or?
Well, pretty much everybody.
I am not going to wrap up this interview by asking what I normally ask. So this is not even a rhetorical question, okay? Because usually I say, is there anything I didn't ask you that you would want me to ask you? But I am not ending this interview this way. I'm just going to say it was great to sit and have coffee with you today, and I will look forward to you serving as a guest host on Coffee With.
I'm thrilled. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it.